Hey everybody, welcome back to Combustion Junction. Today we are hopefully going to get something done with these carbs and get this bike running better. So I got the kit for the carbs. My original plan was to set everything up on the bench, take the bottoms off the carbs, show you the old jets, show you the new jets, put everything back together, drill some holes, clip some springs and everything. Then everything kind of got messed up because I think I ordered jets for another year of carbs. Let me explain. Okay. These are the carbs that I'm currently working with off the 450, which I believed, or I guessed, or I hoped was an 82. I don't think that anymore. This is the instructions for the jet kit that I got, and these are the different jets. There's a drill bit and a screw for pulling out the plastic plug if it had it. There's some of the shims for the needle, and there's 3 different sets of jets. There's for the primaries and 2 different sizes for the mains, if I got that right. If I'm getting my wording wrong, forgive me. I also have this little tiny drill bit that apparently you can add another hole to the bottoms of the sliders in here to make even less air resistant and the sliders become more reactive. On top of that, the kit also explains that the spring in here that's holding the slider down, you can clip a little bit off so that the spring has less opposition to the slider moving. So between the hole in the bottom of the slider and the spring, it can react a lot faster. I don't know if I'm going to go there because I don't know if I need that kind of response for what I'm setting up. Anyway, ordered the kit for the 82 CM450 SC, which I had hoped these were, and the kit I got, the jets actually match my original CM400T carbs. Now, let me get the bottom off one of these bowls and I'll show you the difference. So here's the 2 carbs side by side. This one, which is the original CM400T, has what I think is a primary and secondary main jet, and one would be, if I'm not mistaken, and anybody can correct me if I'm wrong on this because it's kind of piecing together information that I've been finding online, that's the idle jet, and that is the main jet with the needle in it. The 3 jets that I got, A, fit these 2 perfectly, and B, correspond to the numbers. Now, the numbers that are on here I think are wrong anyway. These carbs were completely rebuilt and supposedly rejetted by somebody else for the guy who I bought the bike off of, and they were never installed on the bike. They were never ever close to running. They were just rebuilt and bagged and forgotten about. Now, I believe the primary jet should be 70s, low to mid 70s stock, and in the parts stuff and the extra spare bits that I found for those carbs, I have found I believe what was a 75 jet, because it's 72 or 75, I'm not sure, and I think that was the primary here. This one actually happens to be a 110, which I think is way too big for that, considering what I've been sent for this one, which is closer to this one. It should be an 80, and this one is about a 120, and I think that's why I have like a 127 to a 132.5 for this. So I believe this kit that I ordered is for this. This is from a 79 CM400T. This carb, and I actually have to thank one of the viewers, his name I believe is Jacob. He actually sent me a chart of chassis numbers from the specific years and their corresponding engine number, which actually kind of let me figure out that I believe my engine's from an 84, and these carbs are more like, and the 82 carbs are more like this. and these slightly, you know, very close, and they do fit. They would fit the same engine, but this seems to have some more sophisticated just plungers and setups and things that probably help things run a little bit smoother and a little bit more advanced. So these are the carbs I'd like to stick with. Anyway, if you can see this, these have they don't have a primary main and a secondary main jet like this one does. It has the main jet where the needle comes in and out of, and then down in here is the slow jet. And if I pop that out, it looks like one of those guys there. And those I don't have in my kit. So this is a 38, and I've started looking up on the Honda Twins forums, in which I've been posting some questions and stuff. A while ago, somebody put up a chart of different users and what jet sizes they were using on different motors. So I've kind of concluded that on these carbs, people have been updating the main jet, but in a lot of cases have been sticking with this slow jet, which is a number 38. In any case, what I've also done is I've gone on eBay and I've ordered a whole slew of slow jets and main jets that match this carb. I think there's 10 of each of all varying sizes. So ultimately, I'm gonna have that resource, but basically I want to stick with this carb if I can. So some of what I bought in this kit isn't going to be of any use to me right now. I'm actually still kind of glad I bought the kit because there was good reading and good explanations on how things worked. And if I do want to clip the spring and drill a hole in the slider, I have that option, but I don't think I'm going to do that right away. I think what I'm basically going to start with is just rejetting the main jet. I'm going to keep my slow jet in there as a 38. I have a 127.5 and a 132.5 as the main jets. I'm going to start with the 127 on this, so do both of those. Reset my mixtures to about 2 to 2.5 turns out. I'm going to leave this alone for now. If this doesn't work until I get all my new jets, or I can't figure whatever out, then I'm going to go to this one. I might as well do it right now, and then I'll flip it over and do the needle stuff. So that's the spring that the instructions mention cutting, which I'm not going to do. I'm going to leave this stuff alone. Let me pull out our slider. I'm going to shim the needle or see if there's a adjustable clip on it, and go from there. So the other thing that I wanted to go over before getting those on the bike was my setup for the air filters. And from what I've read, CV carbs act a lot better and perform a lot better if you have some sort of tubing or like a velocity stack or something behind the carbs before your air filter. So with this, I have some pod air filters that would go directly on the carbs. But what I found is I went to the hardware store, and this is actually a flexible pipe coupler with a large adjustable band on it. So it's got 2 bands and it's a flexible piece of metal, and those kind of go together. And it's really for if you have like iron pipe going into PVC, or coupling 2 different materials, copper and PVC or copper and iron or whatever, together. So this is like, it's for 1.5 inch diameter pipe, which this is a little bit bigger than, but it still works. So in here is like a really nice flexible rubber tube with some stops and some teeth in it, so it can grab on. That slides over that. This, if I can, with a little bit of help, it goes onto the input of the carb quite nicely. You can see that there. And you feel it sort of click in and grab on. And it's a little stretched, but that's okay. Loosen that up. We can then drop our metal sleeve right over it, tighten that up, and that's our stack, as they call it. Then what I have is a couple of very short pieces. It's about 1.5 inches or so. I eyeballed it. I don't exactly know. That's 1.5 inch PVC pipe, which is made for this, obviously. So that fits in there quite nicely. I have a little bit of adjustment with it as well, but it bottoms out on a small indent that's in the middle of the rubber piece. And then I can slip on my pod filter. That's my finished stack right there. I've got to take these off before I get this back on the bike, but then we'll get both sides assembled. Okay, so after playing around with the original carbs for a while, I really couldn't get a rich enough mixture. It was really struggling to rev up, and I did lots of backfiring on deceleration and stuff, so and my battery actually went dead. So I thought, while I was charging my battery and downloading this footage, I thought, screw it. I'm going to open up the other carburetors. I'm actually going to put on the jets that came in the kit. I haven't done the extra holes in the slider. I did shim the needle with the vinyl shim, just it was a little smaller and tighter. The needles are a little tight. I think I have to grind the holding plug. I think if you grind the back of it to give the needle a little bit of play, that helps with the shim in it. But the bike now runs like it should. All of a sudden it's got just beautiful idle, and it just revs everywhere, and it just settles down into an idle. Here, check it out. So that's where I think I'm gonna leave it for now. The bike is at a point now where I can get out for a true test drive and see how it feels and the handling and stuff. The one small update that I do have is on the brakes, on the rear brakes. I got my pedal in. The clearance around the exhaust pipes that I created is perfect. There's no issues with that at all. All the connecting stuff is good. The only problem is that the pivot lever does not fit the pivot lever sprocket. That is actually off a parts bike that I had kicking around. I didn't have the lever. I didn't think they would change in between a couple of years because that's off a 76 or 77 Honda Twin. So I have to get that. Otherwise, everything is kind of good to go. Chains on, back brakes, front brakes, electrics. Tank, I still have to give a clear coat to, but it's holding gas now. It's feeding the carbs. Everything seems good. I've got no drips. I've got no leaks. So overall, I think it's pretty cool. Going on a trip this week, so this will be the last video for a couple of weeks for those that stay in touch. For those that are new, please subscribe. Please give me a thumbs up. It really helps my new channel grow and tells YouTube that people might want to see this, and I'd love it if you guys could pass it on however way you could. Hit the share button down below. Send this video link to somebody you think might want to see it and might want to see the rest of the build. That would be totally awesome. And until then, guys, take care and safe riding. Cheers.